أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري وأشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين آمين يا أرحم الراحمين. So this verse seemed to have nothing to do with our subject, but I thought it has, and it is important to understand this verse. So let's read the verse. It is very frequently quoted verse. Shall we?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة.
So the translation.
All you who have believed, protect yourself and your families from a fire whose fuel is people and stones.
I think the recording couldn't get it. So can you speak up, please? Again, from the beginning.
All you who have believed, protect yourselves and your families from a fire whose fuel is people and stones. Tarim 66.
For verse 6. Yeah. So, what do you get from this verse? What attracted your attention?
Your families. When it says your families.
Sorry?
To me, what attracted my attention was where it says your families.
Yeah.
Because I believe in another variation of this same ayah. It doesn't mention families; it mentions like yourself. And so.
Yeah.
So that like you're the keeper of your family, you also help your family.
You are the keeper of your family, so take care of your family.
Well,
yeah,
that caught my attention too, because the way I understand it is that generally in the Quran it usually is you're responsible for yourself, everybody's responsible for themselves. Then how do you really protect yourself? How do you really protect your family from belief is a personal matter. So I don't understand how you can protect your family.
Yeah. Good point.
I came at it a different way. I didn't necessarily think of the family component. I thought of protect yourselves and your families from the fire, and I'm like inferring what's the next verse, so how? And then also the fuel is people and stones. People, yes, but stones, how? So I wanted more clarity on the definition of what the stones entail and how should we protect them.
How you protect yourself
And your family.
and your family.
So I feel like it's a question that has a response, an answer.
Who else would like to make a comment on how we understand from this verse? What we understand from this verse? What attracts our attention in this verse?
I guess just in the context of today's discussion, I mean, it's compelling you to really think about. We've spoken about this a couple times, or our comments have been about this, your family. But from, say, if I'm a father or a mother, this is a real incentive, if I were to read this, to really watch how I raise my family, how my children turn out to be, because ultimately there is some sort of responsibility for me to help shape them in any way I can.
Anybody else? Yeah?
stones here be referring to like heart that have hardened into stone? So it's not only people in their physical interactions, but as well as their belief. Because the seat of belief is the heart.
Mhm.
So a hardened heart, which is
Hardened
stones.
heart.
Mhm.
So, come to our subject.
And so people, you want to protect yourself from people, and your families from people, but not just from their outward appearances, but as well as from their belief perspectives. So I'm going to stop here. Continue.
Okay. Do you notice that what in my own life experience found that this verse is used in a public place, the same verse, in Tahrim 66, chapter 66, verse 6. And the verse was emphasizing on a point, not the verse. The person who quoted this verse emphasizing on something, saying that, oh, parents, fathers, mothers, please take care of your progeny, your new generation, and protect them from fire. Okay, this fire it consists of human beings and stones. The Quran explains. Some of our friends here said, how can I protect my my children? Because if they prefer to go to hell, they will go there because hell, the fuel of hell will be human beings. It means themselves. I cannot really change them. But what I found in this public place, it is printed, not only handwritten. It's printed, and most probably it is distributed commonly, said, all you who have believed, protect your families from a fire whose fuel is people and stones. Knowing the original text, I said, it shouldn't be like this. Because the original text says, and we can translate it, or you who have believed, or you believe, it's both, can understand in both ways, protect yourself and your families from a fire. Why? It's an obvious mistake, but it is not a deliberate mistake, an innocent mistake, because our minds are so conditioned that I am an appointed guardian of God's religion, so I have to protect it. And I have to protect first my family. So I am responsible for my family. And start correcting everybody in the family. This mindset, Allah, to me, it's God's wisdom, made them forget the word yourself. I said it's extremely important. Sorry.
What was that translation you said was wrong?
All you who have believed, protect your families from a fire.
They only said families?
Yeah, yourself omitted.
Okay.
It must be an innocent, but at the same time, it is an interesting, significant sign that we want to protect our family. That's most frequently quoted verse to justify parents' interference into the family members. So they say, I have to protect my family, I am responsible for it. I'm speaking to you as candidates of future children or parents. So I hope, if not married, you will get married and you will be blessed with children. So, of course, it is our responsibility to learn how to take care of my family members, especially the young ones given to my protection or given to me as trusts from God, so I have to be responsible for them. If you pay attention to the verse says, first, all you who believe. First, you have to establish first yourself that you have settled down. You had a confidence in your own belief first. If you don't, you cannot really protect anybody else. So the verse continues, protect yourself. I would rather read this verse in an interpreted way, in a how do you say, modified interpretation, if you like. All you who believe, protect yourself so that you can protect your family. Yeah. So if I don't protect myself from fire, how can I protect my family? Or can I protect my family members, my children, my spouse, more than I protect myself? Can I? Possible? It is impossible. So I would rather read this verse as, if you believe, first act and educate yourself according to the requirements of your belief, and protect yourself from fire, because fire is nothing but you yourself. The fuel of fire is but you, and the stones that maybe sister said, hardened heart. It means really produce something meaningless, stones out of your own imagination, which is not worth worshipping. So they will all go to fire. Or what the fire consists of is our own stones and ourselves. So we have to protect ourselves first from falling into this mistake or this wrong path, so that I can protect my children accordingly, my spouse accordingly, or other people accordingly. You cannot protect anybody more than you protect yourself. That's what I said. This verse is beautiful, but unfortunately, commonly a little bit misused, misquoted. So we have to understand that all you who believe, protect yourself so that you will be able to protect as much as you protect yourself, your family. Yep. So that is not the literal meaning, but we can understand that protecting yourself comes first, this is the foundation. And then, accordingly, you can protect your family. That's what we understand from it. Would you really comment on this? Because we are following certain methodology. So if you follow the methodology that we have been following, you are most welcome. Yeah. Would you like to say something?
No.
Okay.
Jolly, and I'm not trying to be funny, but this is how I understand it and would explain it to someone else based on what you just said. I should put my mask on first before trying to help somebody else put their mask on.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good example. Thank you very much. It means the verse is emphasizing on protect yourself first, so that you will be able to protect your others as well.
I think what you explained is a different analogy, though. It's not that we're trying to. It's not like putting a mask on and saving yourself and thinking, me first, me first. This is in order to best protect other people, you first have to take care of yourself, right? So I am unable to do anything supportive to family and friends until I've fixed myself first. So I don't know if the mask analogy quite works, because that's like a one-and-one trade-off type thing.
But I think the idea of who is first is a good example. I would defend it. Who is first? But if you don't put your mask on your mouth first, if you try to save the others, it means you are doing something wrong, because they need you to be alive first, so that you will help others. That is an analogy, yeah. Anybody else? Yep.
I mean, I would say in response to that, I'm really looking at it from the point of view of last week we talked about, you know, what's the cutoff point for parents and children. So if I am responding to that, if these children are in my care and I'm responsible for raising them from this point to this point, I as the parent, in a sense, have to exemplify it before I can then, in a sense, help my children reach the point that I'm at.
You cannot really excel yourself. Whatever the limits you have, you can transfer it only to your children. That was but a good point. But the brother also made a good point. Okay? Another verse now. That's for us now, for the future parents, if not yet you are responsible for a child or anybody. Anybody, please? Who would like to read? Somebody?
وإذ قال لقمان لابنه وهو يعظه يا بني لا تشرك بالله إن الشرك لظلم عظيم.
So, this verse, of course, in chapter Luqman, and the Luqman prophet, whatever, doesn't matter. This figure in the Quran represents how to really advise your children. So we will follow, this is not only the first verse, we will follow more than 3-4 verses in sequence. So the Quran presents us how to give advice to our children. Bunay, it means really my little son, or my, how do you say it in Turkish, in English, in English to say, not only my son, but, you know, very, in a, not Beni, but Bunay, Ibn, but Bunay. How do you say?
Son.
Sorry?
My dear son.
My dear son, but in a daily language, don't you have any expression for it? Apple of my eye. Can you address your son like this? Dear son is the correct. Thank you. Correct translation, but it looks a little bit formal.
It indicates a very strong
Okay, Bunayya, the advice starts with this verse. So let's read it in English now.
And when Luqman alayhi salam said to his son while he was instructing him, "O my son, do not associate anything with God. Indeed, association with him is great injustice."
So why I brought this verse here? Because this verse starts with, advice starts with, not committing any association with God. That is the foundation of everything. That's what we have to do. Yep, that's the foundation of everything. But how can I teach him? First, I have to learn. So, really, I have to learn not to, or how not to commit any association or partnership to the Creator. That I said, yeah, association with Him is great injustice. So, practically, unfortunately, in the Muslim community, what is more practiced, we say don't associate in Islam. We don't associate any partner to God. It's a very common say, but instructing the new generation how not to associate with God is first thing we have to do. If you want to help your child, don't say that I have to pray, I have to teach him how to pray, I have to get him or take him to the mosque or masjid or Muslim community to make him a part of the community, etc. The Luqman doesn't start in this way. Yeah, and the Quranic example is this. Of course, the Luqman is, is the example for us presented to us by God. So I have to take the presentation of the Quran. So I have to teach, or the very fundamental teaching must be based on teaching Tawheed. It means oneness and unity of God. How? It's not only saying in Islam we believe one God. You have to establish this. You have to teach. The children or whoever, your family members, we learn how to not commit this sin. It's a very severe sin that we know, everybody knows actually. God doesn't really forgive. Why? God is merciful. Why doesn't God forgive committing shirk? In Arabic it means association with God.
Because you're not confirmed in His mercy. You're essentially denying that creatorship.
So if you don't acknowledge God as the absolute God, so instead give deity or the quality of deity to other things, then you are not acknowledging Him, so that you don't ask for forgiveness, because you are not acknowledging Him. Not because God doesn't forgive you. Whoever turns to God, He forgives you. For example, let's say most of the companions of the Prophet were within this category. Yeah, how do you say, not polytheists, but pagans, pagans, but not really, that society wasn't pagan, but could be pagans, doesn't matter, or associators, if you like, with idolaters, somehow, okay? So, what they did, they abandoned this attitude, this belief, this understanding, and confirmed Tawheed. They are completely forgiven, completely forgiven. So what we hear that إن الله لا يغفر أن يشرك به ويغفر من دون ذلك. It means God does not forgive polytheism, or what did he say? Idolaters, and forgives every other thing. It means as if God is doing that. But God is teaching me that if you commit idolatry, thank you, idolatry, no good. You have to, Sorry?
What, am I saying it right? Idolatry.
Idolatry. Yeah, idolatry. Okay? If you commit idolatry, you will not be forgiven because you are not really asking me to forgive you. You cannot ask me to forgive you in this position while you are in this state. So this is an interesting way of reading the Quran from our perspective. We should read the Quran from our perspective, not from God's perspective. God said that God is not really forgiving, is not going to forgive idolatry. So that's his decision. No. God is not saying that. Because we have to read the Quran in order to understand the message from our perspective. That's the principle we follow here. Yeah? And try to learn this principle. Since God tells me like this, that he doesn't forgive idolatry, I would take it, idolatry by its own nature does not deserve forgiveness. Because God says, if you turn to me, I will forgive you. So, idolaters don't turn to God, repent, while they are idolaters. When they abandon, they reject idolatry and confirm God, automatically they turn to God. When you turn to God, you are forgiven. Right? When you turn to God, you are forgiven. That's what we have to understand from the verse. So here, first thing, in order to teach your children how to not commit idolatry, you have to teach oneness of God. It means the first very fundamental of the Quranic teaching, Tawheed, oneness of God. But not say it only. In our religion, we believe in God means nothing. That's what we are misled there. We keep saying that in our religion we believe in one God. How? You have to convince me. You have to give me evidence for it. You have to teach me. You have to educate me. Of course, the first verse we read today, educate yourself first in how to believe in oneness of God. Not only description. Give me evidence how the Quran establishes the oneness of God, the belief, the creed in oneness of God. How does it establish? We have to educate ourselves. So read the Quran from this perspective in order to learn how I can establish my belief in oneness or unity of God. How can I make God really one and absolute? How can I really be satisfied with this idea? Right? So, Luqman.
I thought you were going to comment on the fact that it said while he was, I wouldn't even translate it as instructing, while he was advising him.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say that, I mean, that's also a very important principle. Like, you can't really order him to do something. Ya'idu, of course, is advice, not really instruct. But teach, I understand it. I understand this verse. Teach your children. Teach this. From this verse, I understand God is telling me that teach yourself so that you can teach your children. Because if you don't know how to teach, then you cannot really teach others. Okay? So Luqman carries on now. Yeah.
Does this connect with what you said about the stones of the imagination? You mentioned the first verse, stones of the imagination. So the shirk also involved, being obsessed. It's not direct worship, but being obsessed with worldly things, or it might not be a clear idol, but it could be, I don't know, it could be anything else that you're making the center of your universe, right?
Or it is not our subject, but good point. not only worldly things, explain the existence of anything by referring to the thing or the things themselves. So not the meaning they refer to or point to, not really using the creation, the worldly things for themselves only, but use them as signs to their creator and read the meaning in the things which are already full of meaning, referring or pointing to the qualities of their creator. If I don't use the things, anything, doesn't matter. Usually they say, money cannot be the object of worship. No. Even an atom can be the object of worship. How? If I say the atom creates itself, it is the creator. It is the object of worship. So this worldly, the term worldly must be used with cautious. Because, for example, if I go to the office, it is a worldly life. If I go to the masjid, it's a religious life. Nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. How do you see, or how do you really interpret the things in this world, either in and of themselves or as signs to their creator? That is the very general, universal understanding of, stone. It means, for example, we use the example of a book. We said, if I treat the book as a collection of papers, combination of sheets of paper, it means stone. But if I use the book and read it and communicate with its author, it is not a stone. Now, really, I acknowledge the source of the book now, right? The book of the universe. So stone is important here. That's why we should not turn the things, anything, into a stone. For example, when you pray, if you say this prayer has value and virtue from me, it is a stone. It becomes a stone. It is not reflecting the qualities of its creator, pointing to the qualities of its creator, manifestations of the qualities of its creator. So the objects themselves are innocent. Whatever. For example, if you find a stone or a brick in the building of the masjid or another brick in the building of a synagogue, for example, they are equally innocent. Do you get it? That's why while we are understanding the Quran, we have to understand it in a universal way, not, if you like, sectarian way. Our masjid is more sacred than the other. The stones are stones created by their creator in order to convey the message in their existence to point to their creator. But people may use it, that's what we are talking about, in a wrong way. So I drink water, and another person may drink water, and for you the water is a blessing from your creator, and it doesn't have any quality in and of itself. I may treat it as a natural goodness. So I turn the water into a stone. That's what in the fire I will find. Meaningless, not mercy, not compassion, meaningless, in and of itself does not recognize me, doesn't satisfy me, doesn't have any compassion to me, so I will get no taste, no blessing from it, no benefit from it. It will be a source of torture for me because I will drink it in order to satisfy myself. Water cannot satisfy myself by itself. So that's what the Quran says, that they will drink and their thirst will increase. Stone instead of water you are drinking. That's what fire is. So if you like, some people say, when you go to fire, you take your own fire. Do you understand? So the hell is own fire. Everybody takes his own fire. So it is an interesting understanding that God is not really taking pleasure to torture anybody. We are torturing ourselves. This is the way we have to read the Quran. When Quran says the fire, the fuel of fire is human beings and themselves, the people themselves, and the stones you bring there, what we understand that, oh, I am making and building my own fire by turning everything into a stone, meaningless objects, rather than signs pointing to the qualities of their creator.
Can you review how the book is assigned to its creator? I understand.
Author. In the book example, in the metaphor is author. Why? Because, do you have a book? I have one, it's a big one. So, when you read it, I think we talked about it earlier on, I don't know, if, maybe 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I understand.
So, yeah, you were not here. You are not. You were not here. So, when you look at a book, either you see there's a paper, collection of sheets, bound, or open it and read it. When you read the book, what you do, you don't see the paper. You see the minds, the ideas of the author. So if you cut off the relationship between the author of the book, because it is meaningful, cut off the relationship with the author of the book, treat it as a paper, it has nothing to do with the author as far as you are concerned now. So it becomes a meaningless pile or mass of papers or sheets of paper. That is what the universe is likened to, a meaningful book. So we have to treat every object in the universe as a transmitter or conveyor of the message of its author. So it becomes, it is not a stone anymore. So when it is not a stone, it is paradise. That's what you are in touch with, it is author of the universe. It's beautiful. It's an analogy, I really like this analogy, very powerful analogy. Seems to be a simple one, but beautiful. Simple is beauty. So this one says,
ووصينا الإنسان بوالديه حملته أمه وهنا على وهن وفصاله في عامين أن يشكر لي ولوالديك إلي المصير.
So, can you please read one of you the translation? Okay, you. Yeah.
We have enjoined upon man kindness towards his parents. His mother bore him by bearing strain upon strain, and his utter dependence on her lasted 2 years. Be grateful towards me and towards your parents, and remember that with me is all journeys end.
Okay, what attracts your attention? What strikes you here in this verse? But you should be quick to answer.
Grateful towards me and towards your parents.
Sorry?
Be grateful towards me and towards your parents.
Yeah. So?
Me comes first. Me comes, yeah.
Yeah. If we look, what we should understand from the verse, if I am grateful to God and then I will be grateful to my parents as the, if you like, place, the field where God's mercy is reflected. Otherwise, if I am not grateful to God, I will be grateful to my parents and turn them into an object of idolatry. Idolater. Source of the mercy themselves. Start worshipping my parents. As if exactly the same thing. If you treat, and for example, typical example, a tree as the source of the fruit, what you do? You worship the tree. Right? This verse seems to be, we have to be kind to our parents. But yes, that's correct. But at the same time, fundamentally teaches me that I have to acknowledge that I have to be grateful to the creator of mother and father. So that my gratefulness to the mother and father will be in the name of the creator, in the name of their creator. Otherwise, I will turn my mother and father into an object of idol. Yeah? That is very dangerous. While I am being kind to my parents, God forbid, it's very dangerous. I say, you brought me up, you fed me, you raised me, you educated me. Oh God. You say you are a believer? You obey the verse of the Quran? Because Quran said you have to be kind to your parents? You are not obeying the Quran from fundamental foundation. You are contradicting the Quran. So it is beautifully described here, actually in Arabic, in انشكر لي ولوالدي ولوالديك. I can read. Okay? I can. إلي المصير. The conclusion is beautiful. إلي المصير. At the very end, everything will come to me. So your kindness to your parents will be at the end in God, will be turned to God. So we will be all journeys end is me. With me is all journeys end. But this journey, which kind of journey? My life journey. Yeah? My belief journey. My interaction journey with the rest of the world. That's my journey. Here we are on journey. So every moment of our journey will end up with God. It means whatever you do, you drink your water, this is a part of journey. An action within your journey. Now, this action end up with your creator, God. So if you do something, whatever you are doing in the world, your journey should end up with God. So your compassion, your gratefulness to your parents must end up with God. It means we have to train ourselves as to learn that our parents are only means to transmit God's mercy to us. So we have to see mercy in their parenthood. Right? So mercy of God in their parenthood. If I don't see the mercy of God, I turn my parents into my idol. Right? So these are secrets of the Quran. Secrets of the Quran. If you see this verse, it's always narrated in which category? we have to be kind to our parents. Yeah? Not in the section that we should be very careful while we treat with our parents. So, not to commit shirk. Yeah, idolatry. Did I learn the word? Thank you.
I also like that it says, well, your mother did this and this and this and this for you, so thank me.
Yeah.
Not like first thank her or.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Good point. Very good point. Yeah. So, yes, your mother did, but it is my work. It is my work. It means I provided their quality for you. So acknowledge me through their actions or through their treatment of you. Yeah. So, for example, you may say that my father did this or mother did this, a lot of things, so I have to be grateful to him or her. The Quran says, yes, you have to be grateful, but never forget that it is me who prepared or provided them for you. Never forget that. So if you really look at the motherhood and fatherhood, what you will find there? A flesh, a bone and blood and flesh is manifesting compassion. Right? How? How come? Where is the compassion come? Yeah? From my Creator. It's obvious. You cannot find any source at all for the existence of your compassion. That's why this, I wouldn't use an insulting word, I really get disappointed with this secular interpreters of science. They say it is instinct. Where did they get it? Where did they get it from? Are you joking? Or do you think I'm an idiot? So treating the people like idiots, don't understand anything, don't reason, is it? So it's instinct. They say, why my body works in this way, why my mind is... It is in their intrinsic quality. Where did they get it? Like looking at a building and saying that, oh, these are stones or whatever, concrete, whatever, glasses or iron bars, etc. You say, this is a building. Yeah, it is intrinsic into it. Stones make building themselves. Make themselves into a building. Why? It is the intrinsic quality. It's ridiculous, don't you find it? Do you think I'm so simplistic? I really say, which kind of mentality they have? Which kind of human reasoning they have? So simplistic. Oh, we have some time. Inshallah, one more verse. Quickly, inshallah.
وإن جاهداك على أن تشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما وصاحبهما في الدنيا معروفا واتبع سبيل من أناب إلي ثم إلي مرجعكم فأنبئكم بما كنتم تعملون.
Yeah. Again, the translation? Yeah, but allowed.
And if they contend with you that you should associate with me what you have no knowledge of, do not obey them and keep company with them in this world kindly and follow the way of them. Turn to me, then to me is your return. Then will I inform you of what he did. 31, verse 15.
So again, the same structure. Read the verse with this again with the same methodology that God tells me in order to make me realize how I should really understand the verse. Not really tells me what he's going to do or what does, but what am I expected to extract from this message, from my perspective. So what do you make? out of this? Anybody? Comment? Yep.
I think the key point is your primary responsibility and role is to obey your creator and not the created, your parents. And then I think the most important part is, but still, because I am a merciful one, treat them kindly. So kind of reflect my qualities, even though they are not necessarily cognizant of me, or in making you do something that's not necessarily acknowledging me, but still treat them kindly.
Yeah.
I think that's what.
So treat them kindly, but never forget that when they turn yourself from the source, don't obey them. Because towards the end, so, and keep company with them in this world kindly, okay? And follow the way of him who turns to me. Not if your parents are not really turning to God and how do you say, appropriating the kindness, appropriating the mercy. Oh man, you got old. That's it's a comment. Meant to be a comment. So appropriating, if they appropriate the qualities endowed on them by their creator to themselves, say that I did a lot of things, good things to you. No, I'm sorry. That is God's mercy reflected on you. But I will treat you kindly, of course. But the simple and very practical example is when you pick up the fruit from the tree, you don't cut the tree. You treat the tree kindly, but you don't say that the tree, the fruit is the product of the tree. We don't say that. So we know that the tree cannot produce the fruit. But at the same time, we treat the tree kindly and get the fruit, but ultimately we thank God. We thank God. Because, and also we communicate with God here, as the verse says, and follow the way of him who turns to me. Yeah. If they turn to God, they are most welcome. Yes. So with really, if they say, I've done a lot of things to you, but it is from my Creator. Don't worship me, worship the Creator. And then you say, yes, you are right, and I respect you as well. As we treat the tree kindly. Maybe if it needs water, we will water it, and fertilizer, and look after it, pruning, whatever is needed, we do that to the tree, kindly. But pick the fruit in the name of the Creator of the tree. So that's why the verse is emphasizing on this side, on this word, saying that follow the way of him who turns to me. Then to me is your return. Again, the ultimate end of our journey is to God, the Creator, the source of existence of everything. That's beautiful. It really establishes. So, that is the return. Then, will I inform you of what you did? It means you will be accountable to me only, nobody else. So, treat your parents kindly, but never forget that you are accountable for your treatment before God, not nobody else. So, acknowledge the source. Inshallah, the kindness that we receive from our parents, and thank God and treat them kindly. This is the verse, and then inshallah we will carry on this one. Luqman, inshallah will carry on. So we can Call the break, inshallah. Give a break and we will be back, inshallah, to teach the content of the verse, or what it conveys to us, but how to get the message of the Quran from our perspective. What do we mean by from our perspective?
None.
As my Creator is speaking to me, yeah. So I have to say, why do you tell me this? Yeah, that is methodologically very important. God will speak to me. Even He tells about Himself, or narrates a parable or a story of a prophet, whatever. I would ask this question always: why do you tell me this? Or I will ask this question, direct this question to the text, and text will reveal and start revealing it to me. If I don't ask this question to the text, text doesn't reveal itself to me. Be careful. Whatever you read from the Quran, ask this: why do you tell me this? Then you will get, inshallah. So, Bismillah. Let's go back to the new verse. We were here. Verse 16, yeah.
يا بني إنها إن تك مثقال حبة من خردل فتكن في صخرة أو في السماوات أو في الأرض يأتي بها الله إن الله لطيف خبير.
So, although this part of the world is not directly related to our either relationship with our parents, or, God willing, when we become parents, our relationship to our children, how to behave towards our children. But this is related, not content-wise, completely related. So let's read the English translation if anyone wants to read. We will shout, okay.
O my dear son, continued Luqman, verily, if there be but the weight of the mustard seed, and though it be hidden in a rock, or in the skies, or in the earth, God will bring it to light. For behold, God is unfathomable in His wisdom, all aware.
So, especially as far as our today's, especially the content of today's discussion is concerned, what do you make out of this verse? So, it says, "Oh my son," the advisor giving advice to his son. It means I have to have this kind of relationship to my children, or I have to give this kind of advice to my children, or treat my parents and expect them to treat me in this way. So, if there be but the weight of a mustard seed, the small thing in the world, in this universe, yeah? And though it be hidden in a rock, okay, we are not going into this detail here, or in the skies or in the earth, God will bring it to light. What do you understand? God will bring it to light. Nothing is hidden from Him. So nothing is hidden from Him. What does it mean? From our perspective, again, nothing is hidden from Him.
As a parent, as a child, you may hide it from your parent, but you cannot hide it from Allah, who will be the ultimate
judge. Presenting God to a child is the ultimate judge. It's very frightening. So, well, of course He is, but how do I come to this conclusion? So I have to give the evidence from the very way of the verse is presenting the case to me. To me it says, look, everything is under the control of God, and everything, God will bring it to light. It means, what is the bringing? يأتي بها الله. Actually, why did they say bring it to light? أو في الأرض يأتي بها الله. That is an interpretative translation. I didn't pay attention to it. I'm sorry, it was my mistake. Because يأتي بها الله. Native Arabic speakers. I don't want to say it because from my perspective, you say, oh, you are making up. Native Arabic, do you know?
Brings it into being, I think.
يأتي بها الله.
I don't know. It literally means God brings it.
God brings it. Yeah.
So I guess into
So
being.
it means whatever, nothing in this world, but brought into existence by God. So everything comes from God or brought into existence by God. So be careful. He is unfathomable in his wisdom, so all aware, it knows every details. It means you have to trace the signs of God's, if you like, surveillance or lordship or sustainership in this world. You have to see those signs because everything is coming into existence. Everything has its own qualities by God, not from themselves. So look into it and see what God is bringing to you. It means do not attribute these qualities to the things themselves. To the things themselves. Yet to be Allahu. It was my mistake. I should have paid attention to it. God will bring it to light. I mean, it's not absolutely wrong, but what does it mean? It misses the point. So, inshallah, the translation might be. So, what is Luqman doing here? Teaching his child, his son. What is he teaching? Pay attention to every details in the creation. Every details. Then you will find that, for example, if you are studying, I don't know, physics or biology or whatever, going into the cell, you have to see there, in the cell itself, what God brought it to you. Not themselves are happening or doing whatever they are doing there, whatever we see there. It is brought by God. So really see the traces of God's actions in every being in this world. Small, but whatever. Nothing, you cannot say that something is coming into existence or having certain qualities without the power and knowledge and God's lordship over it. Nothing. Right? Again, teaching what? Oneness of God. And how we should really establish this belief in oneness of God. So we have to prepare ourselves how to teach our children. Inshallah. Okay, carry on again.
يا بني أقم الصلاة وأمر بالمعروف وانهى عن المنكر واصبر على ما أصابك إن ذلك من عزم الأمور.
So, the verse said, أقم الصلاة. Oh, translation. Somebody else? No one else? Okay? You are. MashaAllah. Thank you, volunteering. Yeah.
My son, establish prayer, enjoin what is right, forbid what is wrong, and be patient over what
So, establish prayer. When we read the verse and the verse says establish prayer, how we should read it from our perspective? I need to establish prayer. Yeah, it means it is befitting my humanity to establish prayer. But of course, salah means really, it's a very large word. The meaning is very large. So we should say, I should establish my salah. Salah has many meanings. My prayer, my support of Allah, God, my support of God. It means I have to worship God and put it into practice in my worldly life in this world, in life in this world. So in order to establish prayer, I have to have this concept. I have to understand it, that I need to do it. Of course, what we usually do, we read it and go and speak to yourself, establish your prayer without knowing why. Yeah, of course, we have to read the words from our perspective. The Quran says, you are created to establish your prayer and discover yourself. Discover within yourself and enjoying what's right. Ma'ruf. Enjoying what's right. What do you understand from it? Enjoying what is, in Arabic, ma'ruf. Ma'ruf doesn't really literally mean right. Yeah, ma'ruf is something known, acknowledged. So if someone comes to you and don't do that, right, and you may be doing something wrong. What are you doing? I am enjoining what is right. But the Quran says, no, you have to enjoin what is ma'ruf for the man, for the person you are speaking to. Do you understand that? So you have to make it known. You have to make it acknowledged. Do you get this point? You have to make it. So first we have to make it ma'ruf and then present it to them. This is right. Don't you understand now? Do it then. So make it ma'ruf. Without making something known to me, if you just tell me to do this one, this is what you have to do, it goes against my nature, against my human qualities. So I feel obliged, I feel under pressure, oppression, that without making ma'ruf, I cannot enjoin something.
Can you please give an example?
For example, if you see that I'm not praying, or if you see that I'm lying, for example, if you see that, I don't know, or whatever you don't like me to do, so don't tell me that, lie. Don't tell me that, for example, come on, pray. It is enjoining ma'ruf. No, because it's not ma'ruf to me. Make it ma'ruf to me. Ma'ruf means make it known to me. It means tell me, why should I pray? What does prayer means for me? What it means for me? And then that is the way of enjoining. If you really look at the Quran, the way the Quran speaks to us, the Quran says always, because of this, gives you lots of information. Why should I worship God? Which kind of God He is? And then says, establish prayer. That's it, establish prayer. Why? Because you have now come to know that God, the creator of you and your environment and everything there, as your object of worship. So again, enjoying The same thing, enjoying what's right. What's right. That's what is. We have to keep this word ma'ruf. Make it ma'ruf. Forbidden what's wrong. It's munkar. What is munkar? How do you translate it? Nakr. It means something to be rejected. It is not acceptable. So, tell me, for example, give me an example. Very simple. 2 + 2 makes 5 is wrong, my son. Don't do that. Tell me why 2 + 2 is not equal to 5. Yeah, it is munkar. It should be something rejected for me. Munkar, nakr. What is the best word for it? Anybody? So we take it, ma'ruf means right, and munkar means wrong. So we say, of course, drinking alcohol is wrong, and I have to forbid drinking alcohol. But the Quran says, forbid what is not acceptable for you, what is to be rejected. So make it obvious for me that it should be rejected, so that you can say, okay, don't do that. Okay? Inshallah, we don't have much time. We'll carry on. Let's finish Luqman, inshallah.
ولا تصعر خدك للناس ولا تمشي في الأرض مرحا إن الله لا يحب كل مختال فخور.
Yeah. Translation? Yeah.
And do not turn your face away from people in contempt, nor go about in the land exulting overmuch. Surely God does not love any self-conceited boaster.
So again, don't turn your face away from people in contempt. Well, yeah, that's a good translation actually. Sakhir. Yeah. So really don't look down at people. Yeah, everybody is to be treated respectfully. What I understand from here, from this kind of verses, if you don't say that we are jumping into the conclusion, I would say don't be sectarian. That is, we don't usually look at people down normally, but what we do, we are Muslims, we are the people who are saved and take pride out of it and reject other people straight away and say that they are wrong. They are wrong. So we are saved, they are wrong, and really disassociate ourselves from them and distance ourselves from them and be proud of our own status as self-appointed status. Actually, we are saved. So we have to treat people equally without saying, it doesn't mean that belief is equal to non-belief. No. You are equal to another person. You are equal to another person. If you think that you hold the truth, then present the truth to others, whoever they are. Don't be sectarian, don't be separatist, and don't be proud of yourself, especially your community. Whatever the community you identify yourself with, don't be proud of your community. What you should do, make yourself that you are following the truth and convince yourself so that you can convey the truth to others as well in an open way with no limits. No. So nor go about in the land exulting overmuch. It means, yeah, don't be proud of yourself. Yeah, I understand. Okay? Surely God doesn't love any self-conceited boaster. Of course, we have a question. Maybe I have a question, so the same question you may have. Yeah.
How do you maintain a balance between this and maintaining righteous company?
Between this and between?
And maintaining good company, right? So like, sometimes in order to maintain righteous company, you have to move away from I guess, other influences. So how do you maintain that balance?
Yeah.
Between
If you are not sure of yourself, yes. Make yourself sure of your own stand, your own path, your own belief. Don't be, we should not be sectarian, means be proud of ourselves and disdain our people. We shouldn't. But take your company in the best way, means, for example, for what? Why do you want to have a person's companionship with you in order to what? In order to do what? Give me an example. As an example, let's decipher the meaning of this word. So, give me for example, eat together. Yeah? Okay. If this person next to you eating the food in the name of God, and if you know the value of this attitude, how precious it is, then you have to share it with this person. It doesn't mean that if another person does not eat in the name of God, you have to run away from him. You have to go to him and teach him if you can. Of course, if he wants. If he doesn't want, you can't. But keeping company not only with an identity, people with their identities, we are Muslims, so we are together. No, keeping company with the people who share the same world view with you. Yeah, same world view with you. If somebody doesn't doesn't share the same world view, transfer it. But in order to be able to transfer your message to the others, you yourself have to be convinced about it.
Right, but
That's why it boils down to your own security within your own field. Practically, maybe.
in some situations, though, sometimes the other person can be oppressive. Their presence can be oppressive, or it can just be a bad
Yeah.
influence, right? So and you're right. Like if one is secure, then hopefully that presence won't matter as much. But in certain situations, like how does one protect oneself and maintain righteous company versus being in a situation which can be damaging?
I can give you this example and you can try to make sense of it. Now, all the companions left their community, went into, if you like, in quote-unquote foreign land. What does it mean? So they left their company with the good people. They went and mingled up with non-Muslims. Why? They conveyed the message. That's why. But if we are afraid of our own security in our own comfort zone, that is artificial, actually. Artificial comfort zone is artificial. So it means I am artificially protecting myself. It means what? For example, you tie up my hands, okay, and put a cliff on my hands, and I cannot go and steal, so that this person is not stealing anymore. Is it the solution? Is it the solution? You have to tie up all the hands of the people in Manhattan, in Wall Street. You can't. It's not the solution. So it means you have to teach me why I should not steal. So I have to learn first. If I don't know, to have a good company means get a companionship of somebody who can teach you why you should not steal. That's a good company. Otherwise, coming to the masjid, not going anywhere, and taking the children to the masjid only, and not letting them go anywhere. When they grow and when they reach the age of 18, what do? You cannot force me. I know how to dial 911. 911. Yeah? Even before the age of 18, the children are taught at the age of 7, 8 in their school, if you see that your parents are abusing you, you can dial 911 and call the help of the police. Is it bad? No, it's not bad. It's the reality. The parents are not expected to abuse their children, to oppress their children. What does it? Luqman teaches or advise his child? No oppression at all, just explanation. So he's giving a good advice and doesn't say follow me, for example, obey me. Say obey God and find God in everything. So don't be over exalted in your own life. Yeah, it means don't be self-conceited, right? Don't be self-conceited. It means be always open, especially critical towards yourself. First, it doesn't mean that we have to be overcritical to ourselves so that we will fall into despair. No, it's obvious. But look for the fault in your own life first, and then treat the people accordingly. One more, let's finish, I would say, inshallah.
واقصد في مشيك واغضض من صوتك إن أنكر الأصوات لصوت الحمير.
Anybody else? Okay, this time let's change the voice. Yeah?
And be moderate in your walk and tone down your voice. Surely the most repugnant of voices is indeed that of the asses.
So when you speak nicely, so the people enjoy it, the people want to hear you. So don't speak like the asses. Yeah? So don't be proud, be modest. Yep. So inshallah, the time is getting really late. Let's read the summary and finish today. Yep.
The summary of the chapter Luqman.
Yeah, but not all of them, of course. Luqman 13 to 19. Yeah, the list of it.
Oh, yes, of course. Not to ascribe divine powers to anything other than God. To be good and kind to parents. Do not obey parents when they command what is wrong. To understand that all our deeds, however minor, are recorded and will be brought to light. To be constant in prayer. To enjoin what is right and forbid what is wrong. To bear what befalls you with patience. To avoid pride, arrogance, and boastfulness. To be modest in manner and speech.
And of course, we explained what this enjoying the right and forbidding what is wrong. We described that we don't need to go over it again. It is already late, and some people are worrying about the rain, heavy rain. So we have to respect people's expectations as well. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khair. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana. إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. So just a minute, don't close it. I think, let me see. Yeah, this one verse is left, but we covered the general meaning. So let's read it for the sake of the recording, inshallah. Okay?
ووصينا الإنسان بوالديه حسنا وإن جاهداك لتشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما إلي مرجعكم فأنبئكم بما كنتم تعملون.
You will notice that we have covered all these points. Who would like to read the translation? Okay.
We have enjoined upon man kindness towards his parents, yet if they endeavor to make you ascribe divinity side by side with me, to something which your mind cannot accept, obey them not. For it is unto me that you all must return, and I shall tell you what you were doing.
Yeah. So you know that we covered, we have to be kind to our parents, and we know what it means because they are the conveyors of God's mercy and God's compassion, and we know that if they endeavor to make you ascribe divinity side by God with me, it means if they claim that the compassion, the generosity, the nice, kind treatment to themselves, it means they are the owner of these qualities. That is ascribing divinity to themselves. Don't obey them. Oh God. That we said that in the Quran we never find any verse which says obey your parents, but we find two verses clearly says don't obey if they ascribe divinity to anything which you don't know, you cannot really subscribe to. You cannot accept it. So especially if someone owns the qualities given to them by God and appropriates these qualities to themselves, we should not acknowledge it. We should not recognize it. But it may be for themselves or for something else. For example, they may say, word comes first, not the eternal life. For example, so worshipping God does not really has the priority, should have the priority in your life, but something else. For example, I don't want to go into details, we talked about it a lot. So Quran says, don't obey them. So in other, say, something which you obey them not, don't. It is unto me that you all must return. It means everything must be returned to God and take give God priority. Always. Because it is the source of all good. We understood that and shall tell you what you were doing. It means I am aware of what you are doing, so because I am creating you. That is covered. But this is another verse, beautiful verse, summarizes our duty towards our parents, and also we should behave towards our parents, towards our children, knowing that not expecting anything directly to ourselves, but through ourselves we should prepare them to worship God. So through our compassion, our mercy towards our children, we should treat them, look, don't ascribe these qualities to me. It is from my Creator. Do you get it? So when we are going to, inshallah, your children, your treatment, you should tell them not to turn yourself into a point of or object of worship. It is a great responsibility, actually. It's not easy. Not to ascribe the good qualities to ourselves is the most difficult thing. most difficult responsibility. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة.